Okay, so one topic that comes up almost every time when I'm talking to people and they're asking me about, especially those who are just starting with learning languages, what is the most effective method of learning a language? And they would always tell me, well, I don't have any resources right now. I only have an app. It could be one app, second app. I mean, the market is pretty much saturated. I'm pretty sure you've heard about all of those language apps that are out there. And they always bring it up saying, okay, I'm just like playing around this language right now, introductory level. It's quite fun, but at the same time, I don't know what to do next. So this is something that triggers me slightly in a way, because quite many people believe that you can achieve a certain level of fluency using apps. And this is not exactly so. So let me just get it straight from my perspective. The very obvious thing that comes to my mind, and like I tell about every time anybody asks me, is that those are great in case if you want to get acquainted with a language. It's just something to give you an overview what you're going to be working with. For example, you can download an app just to use with a completely new language that you're just going into, just to see what it's all about, how the language looks like, that you can feel it a little bit, just like to get a grip over it in the beginning. And then after that, it's pretty much pointless. And this is something that is coming from me because I've already experienced so many resources, and those include obviously apps that I tried to use and never succeeded, not because something is wrong with me, but because of the way those apps are structured. Because first of all, just like I said, when you're just starting out with an app and you try to look at language, it's very fun. A lot of them, they emphasize gamification. Some of them emphasize a bit more of a structured approach, and you can kind of find balance with them. But at the same time, it's all about repetition of the most simple things. And don't get me wrong, repetition is exactly what you need in languages, but it's not about it when you have to repeat certain sentences over and over again, and then you do not get explained really why, for example, certain things in that sentence are structured this way and why they're structured the other way in a sentence that is similar, but for example, grammar might be slightly different there. They do not go into those grammatical points. And this is one of the biggest L's that I always emphasize with any language app, because there is not a single language app that would allow you to be proficient. So there is one thing that I always emphasize when giving people an advice in terms of if they decide to go into learning a language seriously and they decide to, sacrifice a lot of their time to achieve fluency, yada, 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 whatever the motive is, doesn't matter. What they need to do first thing is that to make a research. And that research, meaning you should find ideally a publisher with the same author, same publisher that goes from the lowest level, meaning A1, to at least B2. If you want to get like super fluent, I don't know, academically C1 level, just like, or work proficiency C1 level, of course. But if it's not a priority for you and you want to be, just a well-functioning member of society in that certain country, culture, society, whatever, then B2, obviously. So once again, ideally you need to find workbook, textbook, and supplementary audio materials for those, because obviously you cannot go anywhere without audio materials. You need to hear how things are being pronounced, and you need to train your ear to that specific language that you're going into. So those three things, they are key things in your language learning journey. So once again, try to find a publisher who goes from A1 until B2 at least, preferably C1, but because in this way, this one author, this one publisher gives you the whole journey, which is structured out and catering to all of your needs. They will teach you from how to pronounce things to how to use advanced grammar points, and all throughout this one journey of those materials that are specifically prepared for those levels. So in this kind of way, you do not get lost, because many people who start with apps, they get lost. They do not know what to do, what to learn. And there is so much information out there online and offline as well, that I mean, it's really easy to get overwhelmed. So this is why exactly you need that structured approach. You need to find those materials that are going to be gradually introducing you to new things, and then you're going to be becoming more advanced gradually. So this is like one of those most important advices that I can give you. And then eventually you can go to the point where you can combine different authors or like different publishers. This is something that I do as well, because for example, when I achieve like around B1, preferably B2, you start to notice that, hey, like I'm reading news, I'm reading books, I'm trying to talk to people, but I feel like I'm lacking certain things, and those certain things might not be so emphasized in one publisher's materials, but for example in the other publisher's materials, or like in different authors' materials. So on level B1, B2, you can kind of consider combining different materials. This is what I'm doing right now, for example, with Norwegian that I'm learning. I'm on level B2. I'm kind of trying to like B2 towards C1, but I can definitely say I'm not C1 level yet. I'm just like trying to progress. I'm somewhere in between, you know, and this is where I kind of combine. I have my major like materials, the ones that I'm using, I don't know, let's say 70% of time, and then there are supplementary materials from which I get some additional vocabulary, some additional grammatical points, cultural points as well. So this is something that you start combining only at a later stage. And this would pretty much give you a very advanced overview of how to learn a language, how to approach it. And then you can obviously start combining at higher levels, like with different sources such as news, shows, programs, literature, especially literature, but I think I'm going to talk about it maybe some other time, not right now. But this is basically what you need to know about how to, you know, get serious about a language, how to get that structured approach, and how to just in general progress there without getting lost, you know, in this world where you get overwhelmed with that much information.